Alrighty then, fellow sci-fi fans, let's do a little recap. Last week, I did a review of part 1 of a 2-part Orville episode. And this week, I will be doing a review of part 2. Let's cover what happened in the first episode of the two-parter. So you have the Orville going to the planet Kalon to revive Isaac, who happened to die. And you found out that the planet in which Isaac came from is basically a allegory for Cylons, where the robots wiped out all its organic masters, and they take over Orville and are going to Earth to wipe out all the organics, on Earth, to continue their vendetta against the organics. So it is basically Battlestar Galactica with the Cylons and The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1. It leaves off while they're on their way to Earth and leaving the crew alive for some unknown reason. And we will stop with there, and I will continue on after the beginning. Hello out there in YouTube land, my fellow sci-fi fans. Now, let's continue on with my review of part 2 of the two-parter Orville episode. When we left off on part 1, we had the Orville going towards Earth with the fleet from robot planet heading towards Earth. I had a couple of questions at the end of the episode as to why the robots left the humans alive on board the Orville. And so we have the robots, who are basically an allegory for basically the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica, robots who rebelled against their human organic rulers and wanting to wipe them out. So if they are trying to wipe out all organics, why do they even keep them alive? And why are they not wiping out every organic race along the way to Earth? Now, they didn't explain why they were not wiping out any organic race on the way to Earth, but they did explain why they wanted to keep the crew alive. And it made a bit of sense in this episode. They needed to have someone explain why the fleet was with the Orville. The problem I had with this explanation, well, the explanation worked, but once Captain Mercer tried to screw them over by passing a message onto one of the Union ships that intercepted them, and they figured it out and wiped the ship out. Why they kept the crew alive to begin with, other than it's in the script. I couldn't figure it out. Fine. It's in the script. They needed to have a reason to keep the crew alive. That being said, everything after that sort of made sense. Excuse me. Now the little amorphous blob dude who was voiced by I couldn't remember his name, but the little amorphous blob became very useful because he was able to go through what is the Orville's version of the Jeffries tubes and pass a message on to Union Central and get a message to the command and have the fleet meet them on Earth while Mercer's girlfriend, the XO, managed to escape the ship in a shuttle with the pilot and do the old it's only theoretical warp jump to meet the enemies, the Avis people, and get the forces in to battle the bad guys. It'll make sense when you see it. What I really liked was this is the way that Wolf 359 should have been, because this is the Orville's version of Wolf 359, and the best of both worlds combined, because the bad guys meet at Earth. It's more than one ship combined with the bad guys. It's more than one ship of the bad guys fighting with the good guys. And in Deep Space Nine, they have the Romulans fighting against the Dominion. So you have the Commonwealth, fighting the bad guys. You have the Avis, the bad guys, combining with the good guys to fight the bad guys. That was my problem with the Borg. They only sent one ship each time. Now this one, they have like a bunch of different ships coming in to try and take over the planet. And you have a bunch of different ships of the good guys and their enemies combining together to fight the bad guys. This was basically the Orville's version of Wolf 359 and First Contact coming together. And I really enjoyed it. This was, despite the little flaw of the bad guys keeping the human people together, keeping the humans alive to begin with, which they shouldn't have done after they tried to screw them over. it was well done. And there's the humor. There's basically a little bit of we've got to keep Isaac alive and find a reason to keep him on the show, despite the fact that he screwed humanity over to begin with. But hey, this turned out a little bit different than I was expected, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen. The way it happened was better than I thought it would be. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And I think I will give the whole series a 7.5 out of 10. And I'm really kind of thinking this is going to be a really good series. I really do think that Orville is a Star Trek series that should have been the Star Trek series that Seth MacFarlane pitched, and it is better than what Star Trek Discovery could even hope to be. So, if you are a Star Trek fan, if you are a Seth MacFarlane fan, watch this series and enjoy it, because it is fun. It is incorporating humor and a little bit more realism than with the way people are than Star Trek is. And enjoy. Talk to you later. Bye.